we're in again, folks. Right, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to try and keep this fish away from these reeds. Not sure what that is actually. Didn't look like a tench. Maybe it is. No, I don't think it is. I think it's a carp. Keep it over here. Oh, it's a bream. Bloody hell. I said earlier I'd never caught a bream in here. Where the flip has he gone now? Keep him from ours. It's probably a PB bream for me, this. I don't fish for a bream very much. God, jeez. That is a big bream. Oh, the net's got itself sort of tangled up. There we go. Right. Well, that was unexpected. Well, hi folks. I've taken an easy option today. I've come down to the little stock pond on the clay pit. My sciatica's still bothering me. It was a bit easier the last couple of days. I was hopeful it might be going away, but it hasn't. But anyway, as I say, it's an easy option in two ways really. One, I can park the car right next to where I'm fishing, which is really good. So I didn't have to cart tackle for a long way. But the second one is it generally speaking has been easy fishing. I've done well here most times I've been. The only exception I think was in the middle of winter once when I gave it a try and didn't get a touch. But anyway, so fingers crossed things will happen. There's quite a strong easterly wind today. It's quite chilly at the moment, but when the sun gets up probably it'll warm up a bit. But fortunately these little ponds are fairly well protected from the wind, so that was another good reason to come here. So without more ado, I'm all tackled up. Let's get going, shall we? Right, let's go. Right folks, here we are. I've been here a few times before, so those of you who have watched my videos in the past will recognise this spot. It's still sad that they cut down all the reeds around this bay. There used to be sort of 5 foot high reeds all the way around and a nice little protected bay, but not so much now. Anyway, what we got today? We got the Gray's Prodigy TX, which is a Rover float rod. It's a 6-section travel rod actually, but you can use it obviously how you like. I've got a Rapidex reel, 6-pound line all the way through. I've got a preloaded waggler, one shot down near the hook, and I think it may be a 14 hook, I'm not sure. I keep my rods sort of tackled up at home, so it's a long time since I put the hook on, but it looks like about a 14. I'm starting off with a bunch of maggots. I've thrown a few maggots and a few pieces of corn in, and let's go a bit further than that, shall we? And we'll see what happens. I did bring some ground bait, but I haven't started off with ground bait, so I'll just start off to see how things go. But perhaps I'll put a bit of ground bait in if nothing starts to happen. I think I need to bring the shot up a bit because that bottom shot must be right on the bottom, and it's I'm not sure. Either that or put another bit of shot on the hook. That looked like it might be a bite actually. There's a lot of farting around going on out there. Yeah, I thought so. I don't know what it is, but it don't seem anything big. It's sort of taking its time. Just really playing with it. Let's wait for something positive to happen, shall we? I don't know how well you can see the float. The trouble with this swim is you get all the reflections off the reeds, and it breaks up the sort of breaks up the pattern on the water, and it's sometimes quite difficult to see the float. Yeah, I need to put another shot on. Just shot that down a bit, that float. God, whatever this is, it's taking an awful long time to do anything. It'd probably be about 1 inch long. Yeah. It's a diddy little perch, isn't it? He's probably swallowed it right down as well. Not good start. Well, the float just lifted and I struck and I thought I was in a snag, but the snag's moving. Jesus. I'm not sure it knows it's hooked at the moment because it's not doing anything dramatic. It's just walking, sort of moving along slowly. But this feels quite heavy. God, it feels lumbering, you know. Ah, it's a story of my life, isn't it? Story of my life. Last trip out, I lost 3 fish, came off. Well, that felt absolutely enormous. God, Jesus. I don't know if I perhaps foul hooked it, I don't know. Sharp, hooks are sharp. Well, I don't know what that was, because the tench usually dash off, the carp usually dash off, but that didn't dash anywhere. At first I really thought I'd snagged. It didn't move, and then it just started moving very, very slowly. Oh well, folks, well at least we lost it miles away from where I'm fishing, so I'm getting a bit fed up with losing fish. Jeez. Yeah, the float lifted slightly and I struck. Wow, that was big, folks. That was big. As I say, I ain't got a clue what it was. Ah, dear, oh dear. Certainly wasn't a tiddler. Yeah, it was just weird. I've never caught anything in here like that before. I've caught tench, I've caught carp, and then every occasion they just scream off. First run, you know, but that just sort of, it was almost, I don't know if I foul hooked it and it didn't really know it was hooked, and it just felt something was resisting it. I don't know, but it came off. That's the important thing, or the sad thing. God, Jesus. Well, after losing whatever that was, things have gone very quiet. No sign of a bite, and the bait comes back on the hook, so it occurred to me that I had been told there were bream in here. I've never caught a bream in here. I suppose it could have been a lumpy bream. I wouldn't have thought they were that big, the bream in here, but that would sort of explain the more leisurely and dogged and weighty fight. Oh. Something just topped there, or more than topped it, sort of made quite like a motion. I don't know what that was. I think there's a chance I'm going to get cold today, you know, if this carries on. This wind is getting colder. They didn't forecast such a strong wind. Mind you, the forecast is all over the place these days. You sort of look at it a couple of days before you're planning to go out and you think, yeah, that looks okay for whatever day it is, and then you look at it the evening before that day and it's all changed. Yeah, it's gone very quiet since that big beast parted company with me. Well, maggots still work. Oh, at least it's a roach this time, not a perchie. There used to be a good head of crucians in here. I was looking back on an old video of mine, 2022, when I had a really good session here. I think it was in September, and I caught a number of tench, but I also caught a large number of crucians. But I haven't caught a crucian here for a while, and a while ago a guy said to me that the cormorants had ravaged these ponds. Now, that obviously didn't seem to affect the tench because I was still catching tench, but I haven't caught any crucians for a while. Yeah, going back to the forecast, when I looked at the weekend what today was going to be like, it was showing cloudless sunshine, which isn't the best for fishing, I know, but it's hardly cloudless today. There's plenty of clouds. But the wind's dropped a bit, which is good because I was starting to get a bit chilly. I think something's playing with that. I think I have to put my glasses on because it's a bit difficult focusing on this float at the moment, and I'm not seeing all the preambles to the actual bite. Oh yeah, that's going to be a perch, isn't it? Yeah, tiny teeny. Probably as teeny as it gets, to be honest. But at least he's hooked properly. Yeah, I think we have to call this one the specimen of the day. Right, I'll go and get my glasses out of the bag because I'm starting to get a bit problematic seeing that float. Yeah, it's definitely a bite. Oh, felt something, but it wasn't there when I... Yeah, these are all small fish. I think I'll have to go back onto corn or bread or something. Trying to attract something a bit better. Yeah, these are all small ones, aren't they? That's all maggots are producing. Right, I'm going to try a bit of corn or something. Oh, come here. Where the hook is. God, a little rigger. It's very difficult holding these little fish because they're so small. But there we go. That's a little rudd. Well, the wind's eased up a bit for a minute. It's getting on. What's the time? 11:30. So the sun's probably at its peak, or getting near its peak. Certainly doesn't feel quite as cold as it did earlier on. probably started fishing about 9, so time I'd set up and everything. So I've been here, well, I've been fishing probably 2.5 hours. To be honest, not too much to show for it. I'm still really frustrated about losing that fish, because if I'd seen it I would have been happy. I still would have been unhappy, but at least I would have known what it was. But not seeing it, and it's such an uncharacteristic fight, it's really sort of intriguing me, but I'll never know, will I? I wonder if it was a biggish carp and it sort of didn't even know it was hooked, so to speak. The way it didn't dash off, it sort of just sauntered off after I thought I'd struck into a snag at first, and I thought, oh, and then it moved. But and then perhaps as I started putting a bit of pressure on, it decided to go, and that was it really. It's one thing getting broken up, but it's another when the hook just comes out. Yeah, it's all very quiet, isn't it? I shouldn't have said the wind had dropped, should I? It's gusting again. Something's playing with it. Yeah, it's another little one. It just fell off as I struck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some more ground bait, put it out, and have a break, and have a drink and something to eat, and hopefully attract something a bit more decent in here, because at the moment it's not really going too well. So I'll be back a bit later. Well, I must say I'm starting to feel a bit negative about today. I had quite high hopes about today, because previous visits here, give or take, have been quite rewarding. But a few small fish on maggots early on, something which felt really big on sweet corn, which came off. There's been no bubbling. There's, normally when the tench are active, they let you know, because you get bubbles coming up, but there's been none of that. Now, is that a bite, or is it just the wind dragging my line? It's probably just the wind dragging the line, as usual. Yeah, so I've got a bit of spam on at the moment. It's not happening. It's now gone midday, so we're sort of halfway through, and it's not happening at all. Whether it's these cold nights again, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought it would have affected the water temperature that quickly. No, perhaps I'll go back on maggots, see if there's any small stuff interested. But yeah, it's not looking too promising, really. Yeah, when I lost that fish earlier, I thought the bigger fish were moving around and thought we may have another chance, but I'm beginning to doubt that now. Right, we'll see. I'll try maggots, see what happens. Well, I've given up on the float. It's just, I can't keep it in the same place for more than a few minutes. It's just, so I'm going to try. I haven't got the right tackle for this, but I'm going to try putting a light ledger out there. And just bobbing on it. Everything is so difficult in this wind. You're fighting all the flipping time with the wind. Yeah. So that's it, folks. It's just, I couldn't keep the float static for long enough, really. It was just, whatever I did, it was just either blowing the line in a loop or blowing the float under. It's just so. I like my float fishing. The thing is, it's deceiving. You look out there, it looks perfect, but you try and keep a floating position with the wind, it's impossible. So I don't know if this will work, but perhaps I should have started with maggots to test the system. Well, I had a positive lift on the bobbin on luncheon meat. There was nothing there when I struck, so I don't know. I mean, so the wind is blowing the top of this rod and the line still, because even with a ledger, I haven't really got extra rod rests to get the point of the rod down nearer the water. Trouble is, these banks you can't get ordinary rod rests in. You need pods, really, because that's why I bring this little one here, because it's quite a fine sort of shaft on it. You can wedge it in, but an ordinary sort of pole you can't get in. Yeah, I'm just going to leave luncheon meat out there. I know the tench will take luncheon meat, so, and carp will if there's any carp around. Maggots are just attracting small fish, and this is not sensitive enough system for small fish. They're just gorging it. I just got a drop back bite on the luncheon meat, and fingers crossed this one will stay on, folks. I'd had a couple of lifts on the luncheon meat, but not really got anything when I struck, but this time it dropped right back and I struck on the drop back. And I'll say, let's hope this one stays on. Oh, bloody hell. I think it's down in these reeds. That's where I lost the other one. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Got me around the same reed as the other one. Oh, this is getting so boring. This is getting so damn boring, losing fish. Hook's still there. Got me round a reed, didn't he? Oh, bugger me. Well, this is rapidly becoming one of those sessions that what it could have been rather than what it is. That's 2 fish we've lost. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, I could see that reed moving. He had gone round the reed and that's it, really. Took the pressure off the hook, and basically then he just slipped the hook and left me stuck in the bloody reed. Well, that was interesting on luncheon meat, so we'll pursue that. I'd had a couple of dropbacks earlier on luncheon meat, and I didn't sort of switch the camera on to tell you, but that time it really dropped back quickly, and I struck on it as it dropped back, and as you saw, we had something on that was decent, probably a tench. That one, it felt more like a tench. But it got me snagged just the same as that first one did. Jesus. I was all ready to sort of give in anyway, to be honest. I wasn't getting any bites, but we'll try again. They're out there. I can't seem to get them in. Yeah, the bobbin just dropped right back, and I struck as it was dropping. Well, I just had another lift. In fact, I've had a couple of lifts on the bobbin with this luncheon meat. I've missed both of them, or missed them. There was nothing there when I struck. But at least I'm getting bites. So we'll pursue the luncheon meat. When I diced all this luncheon meat up, I sort of diced it up into various sizes. And, things I've nearly used up all the medium-sized bits. They're sort of bigger bits now, but I'll put a bigger bit on. Yeah, I am getting quite positive lifts on the bobbin with luncheon meat, but unfortunately I'm not hooking them. They're not sort of whacking it up into the rod or anything. They're not that positive, but positive enough. Certainly better prospect than with the float, which was being pulled all over the place by this wind. It is incredibly strong. Next fish, if I manage to hook another fish, I'm going to stand up to play it and try and get the rod well out over the water, so if try and keep it out of those damn reeds. Of course, it may be smaller fish just pulling on the luncheon meat that are giving me these bites. But every time I get out of my chair, the back of the chair blows over because of the wind. Oh, it's absolutely really blowing. Jesus. I've got a little plastic mixing thing there for my ground bait. That ended up in the water a little while ago. That blew in, so I had to fish that out with the land in there. Yeah, it's not the best of conditions today. Wind and fishing really doesn't go well together. Right, we're in again, folks. Right, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to try and keep this fish away from these reeds. Not sure what that is actually. Didn't look like a tench. Maybe it is. No, I don't think it is. I think it's a carp. Keep it over here. Oh, it's a bream. Bloody hell. I said earlier I'd never caught a bream in here. Where the flip has he gone now? Keep him from out. It's Probably a PB bream for me, this. I don't fish for bream very much. God, jeez. That is a big bream. Oh, the net's got itself sort of tangled up. There we go. Well, that was unexpected. Now I've got to be careful here, because if I take that tube off my unhooking mat, the mat will go into the water. So what I've got to do is bloody wind's blowing everything. Right, that's it. Well, let's just get this handle off, and then makes life easier. Oh, could it have been a bream I lost earlier? That heavy thumping fish. I don't know what's happened here. The lines got all tangled around its tail. I think the line's pulled through the net. And there we go, I think. I don't know what's happened here. The line's sort of gone through the net, I think. How the heck's that happened? Oh no, we're alright, I think. Oh, that is a fair old bream. I didn't even know they were in there this big. Right, and that says £5.14, but I set it on 0, so I've got to take a pound off and add 2 ounces. So £5.14, £4.14, add 2, that's £5. That's a £5 bream. There we go, £5 bream. Right, let's put you back. Well, it seems, folks, that both the internal battery and the power pack on my body worn GoPro have both expired, so I think that's probably the cue to pack up. I've turned on my remote GoPro, but I don't have a power pack for that, so it won't last that long. But I'll have another cast. But that was a turn up for the book. Someone had told me there were bream in here, but I'd never caught bream in here before, and when they said bream I assumed they'd be sort of small bream. I didn't think it'd be a £5 bream. That's my personal best for a bream. I never fished for a bream, to be honest, not intentionally. And so that is my personal best. I think before that it was £4 something. So that's great. It sort of saved the day after losing 2 other fish, which I'm not sure were a bream or tench, but I'm not sure they were bream, to be honest. But who knows? You never know. I don't know how big the bream go to in it. So if it was a sort of £8 bream, that might have explained that lump, the first fish I caught. Well, first fish I sort of lost rather than caught. Yeah, I was getting these funny bites and I couldn't bloody hook the things, and there you go. And there we go. It was a bream. car, performance trying to unhook that, because everything was blood. Every time if I took the weight off my unhooking mat, the thing is, the wind would blow it in the water. It's just madness. Right, I'll have a couple more casts then. Probably call it a day as my camera's packed up or run out of battery. It's a bit worrying really. I must have an awful lot of footage. Most of it's not worth having, to be honest. I think sometimes I leave the camera running and forget, and that's the trouble, and I sort of waste battery because I'm recording things that I didn't really want to record. Well, not didn't want to record, I didn't need to record. I wonder if that's the ground bait I put in attracted the bream, possibly. I just feel those other two fish I lost were too powerful though. I mean, so that was heavy, but it didn't sort of go like those other two. Oh, who knows? We never know, will we? We never know. Yeah. So, whoever's shooting things behind me has been shooting all day. They must have shot a lot of stuff. Yeah, the time now is just gone 3. I'll probably stay about another half an hour. Hopefully the camera behind me will pick up what's happening. If not, then basically this bit of this session is lost to you. And I'm saying that, and of course if it isn't recording you won't hear that anyway. I think my power pack may be getting a bit old in the tooth, and it's not sort of storing the charge as much as it used to when I first bought it a few years ago. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad I got a decent fish in the end. I got one on the bank anyway. Sort of made up for all the frustration. Yeah, I didn't realise there were very big bream in here. Right, so this is it. This is 3:24. This is the last cast, and then we'll call it a day, as they say. Whew. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a lot more regard of the weather for my next outing, and make sure, if it's a float session, which it probably will be, I'm going to make absolutely sure I'm not going to have to battle winds, crosswinds, because it's not so bad if you're fishing somewhere where you're fishing just over the edge of some sort of margin lilies or something, so you're not casting out, but somewhere like this it's absolutely impossible. Yeah, I see there's a tremor on it. Definitely some. Oh yeah. Yep. Oh. I hope this other camera's picking this up, folks. I think this is not a bream. I don't think it's a bream. It feels very tenchy. Let's see if I can keep him out there. Keep him away from these. I've lost sight of him now. Where is he? Yeah, this is not a bream. This is definitely not a bream. He's whacking against the line. This is why the bloody hook comes out. You can feel it slapping against the line. There he's going into this near side, you see. This is where it gets difficult. I know you're going over here now. Don't mind. Yeah, he's a tench, isn't he? He's a tench. We've got him in sight now. If we get him in, this will be quite amazing for a last cast fish. No. It's always the same, you pick the net up and then go, don't they? Now I want to get you in, mate, because I've lost too many today. This net keeps folding itself. That's better. Yeah, that's quite a nice tench as well. Oh, well, that's a very good ending. A very good ending. This bloody stick down here, you're getting caught on everything. I'll just leave you there while I sort of clear the unhooking mat. He's not that big actually, but he certainly gave me a go. Just in the edge of the lip. Well hooked. The line's all caught round somewhere. It's all caught round the fins. There you go. I hope that comes out. Fingers crossed. Four and a half, say 3.5. 3.5 pounds. Well folks, I think it's fair to say today didn't turn out quite as planned. Yeah, this is usually what I would call an easy water. I've caught tench here on most visits, but oh dear, the wind today. I thought last week was a challenge, today was impossible. It really was. In the end I gave up on the float and I made a sort of light ledger up on the float rod. Anyway, yeah, I lost a couple of fish, powerful fish, a bit disappointed really. Had some small ones to start with, perch and silvers, so that sort of, at that point, had saved the blank. Yeah, and in the end, I went over to the ledger and I started using luncheon meat, I keep saying it. I started using spam, because the little perch were taking the maggots, and with the ledger and the bobbin I weren't really getting a very strong indication and they were swallowing it, so I gave up on that. Anyway, I went over onto the spam and I had a really good drop back bite, and that was one of the fish I lost basically, because I hooked it and it went powering off and it got itself in the reeds on the near margin, and that was the end of that. Anyway, I'd sort of almost resigned myself then to not get anything else, and then my my GoPro that I wear on my body, I'd already plugged the power pack in and that had expired as well, so I lost that camera, and I switched on the remote camera that I only really use on and off during the session, and because it's got no power pack, so I switched that on, and it's fingers crossed by the time you've got to this point you'll know whether it worked or not. But when I was doing it I didn't really know what it was going to record and what it wasn't, to be honest. But I hope you did see the last knock-ins, because literally the last cast and it was the last cast. I'd made up my mind it was the last cast. My sciatica was really getting me down, it was really hurting, so the last cast I managed to get a tench and I managed to get it in. I think it was 3.5 pounds, I can't remember now, I think it was 3.5, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's sort of the bream. The bream, did I mention I got a bream? I'm losing track here. Anyway, I got a £5 bream on the ledger, and then I got that tench right on the last knocking. Sorry, this is all a bit rambled. I'm absolutely knackered, to be honest. I've been fighting against the wind and sciatica all day. Anyway, yeah, and I've rambled on too much now as well. So I'll say thank you to everybody who watches the videos. Especially those who give me likes and the subscribers, of course, and thanks for the comments, those of you who comment. Yeah, so basically that's it for today. A success, but a qualified success, I would say. So until the next time, and I don't know how much this wind is affecting this mic. I've got a muffler on it, but I really don't know. This wind is atrocious today. But anyway, until the next time, it's cheerio for now, and cheers.